When the Civil War ended, America was both victorious and broken. The Union was preserved, but the wounds ran deep. 4 million people had been freed. But what did freedom mean in a land still learning what justice was? The next century would test not only the strength of America's government, but the heart of its people. After Lincoln's death, Andrew Johnson faced the impossible task of healing a shattered country. The South lay in ruins, cities burned, railroads destroyed, farms abandoned. Congress moved to rebuild, not just with stone, but with rights. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. The 14th guaranteed citizenship, and the 15th granted voting rights to black men. For the first time, America wrote equality into its laws. But writing is easier than living. Violence and backlash swept through the South. For every step forward, resistance pushed back harder. By 1877, federal troops withdrew, ending Reconstruction. The South slipped into the long shadow of segregation. Quote, Frederick Douglass, "The work does not end with the abolition of slavery, but begins." The war was over, but a new battle began between labor and capital. America's cities exploded with industry. Steel, oil, and railroads built fortunes for men like Carnegie, Rockefeller, and Vanderbilt. Mark Twain called it the Gilded Age, shiny on the surface but cracked underneath. Millions of immigrants arrived through Ellis Island, chasing the dream of a better life. Children worked in factories, tenements overflowed, and unions rose demanding dignity. Quote, Andrew Carnegie, "The man who dies rich dies disgraced." The government struggled to keep up with the pace of change. Corruption spread through city machines and corporate monopolies. But amidst greed and smoke, the foundations of modern America were laid. Invention, ambition, and relentless hope. The new century brought new energy. President Theodore Roosevelt broke up monopolies, preserved forests, and declared that the people, not the corporations, ruled the republic. Reformers fought for safer factories, pure food, and fair wages. Women demanded the right to vote. In 1913, the Federal Reserve was created to stabilize the economy, and income tax became law. Yet far beyond America's shores, a storm was gathering. Europe slid toward a war unlike any before. When it came, the world would change, and so would America. In 1917, the U.S. entered World War I, the war to end all wars. 2 million Americans crossed the Atlantic. Many never came home. President Woodrow Wilson envisioned peace through a League of Nations, but Congress rejected it. America turned inward, weary of foreign entanglements, eager for normalcy. The 1920s roared to life. Jazz filled the air, radios spread across homes, cars rolled from Ford's factories. It was an age of energy and excess. Women won the right to vote. Prohibition outlawed alcohol. Speakeasies thrived in defiance. Stock markets soared until they didn't. When the stock market crashed in 1929, the dream collapsed with it. Banks failed. Families lost homes. Farmers watched their soil turn to dust. Unemployment reached 1 in 4. Despair became the new national language. Then came Franklin Delano Roosevelt with hope. Quote, FDR, 1933. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Through his New Deal, Roosevelt rebuilt faith in government. Public works programs put people back to work. Social Security promised dignity in old age. Electricity reached rural towns for the first time. Government grew, not as a master, but as a lifeline. And just as recovery began, the world caught fire again. On December 7, 1941, bombs fell on Pearl Harbor. America entered the greatest conflict in human history. Factories turned to war machines. Women filled jobs once held by men. Over 16 million Americans served. The war united a nation like never before and changed it forever. Quote, Dwight D. Eisenhower, "The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. From Normandy to the Pacific, American power helped turn the tide. By 1945, Hitler was dead, and Japan surrendered after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The war ended, but a new world began. Two superpowers faced each other, the United States and the Soviet Union. One stood for democracy, the other for control. The Cold War wasn't fought with armies, but with fear Berlin split in two. Nuclear weapons filled silos, and school children practiced hiding under desks. Quote, John F. Kennedy, "Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate." In 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis brought the world to the edge of annihilation and back. The space race soared. In 1969, Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon. But at home, another war raged, not abroad, but within. Nearly a century after slavery ended, equality was still unfinished. In Montgomery, Birmingham, Selma, people marched, sang, were beaten, but did not stop. Quote, Martin Luther King Jr., "I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed." The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Voting Rights Act of 1965 transformed law and conscience. Leaders fell to bullets: King, Kennedy, Malcolm X. The dream was costly, but alive. The nation matured and stumbled. Vietnam divided the country. Watergate shattered trust in government. Yet, democracy endured, even self-corrected. Presidents came and went. Ford's steadiness, Carter's integrity, Reagan's optimism. Quote, Ronald Reagan, 1987. "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." When the Berlin Wall fell in 1989, the Cold War ended. For a moment, America stood unrivaled, the world's superpower, confident and free. The morning of September 11th changed everything. Terror struck at the heart of America. Firefighters ran into the flames. In grief, the nation stood together again. Wars in Afghanistan and Iraq followed. The digital age reshaped life. Social media, smartphones, information faster than truth. Division deepened, yet connection widened. Presidents faced new challenges: terror, recession, climate, pandemics. Still, through crisis after crisis, the Constitution held. Quote, Barack Obama, "We remain the last best hope on earth. From the wilderness of Jamestown to the towers of New York, America has never been perfect, only becoming. Its government was born not of bloodline, but belief, that freedom and justice belong to all. Every generation rewrites that promise, sometimes in ink, sometimes in tears. Yet, still it endures. Quote, Abraham Lincoln, Echo. That government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. This is the story of a nation still being written, the story of the United States of America.